Hi everyone, it's Tatyana from Tatyana's Everyday Food and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'll be showing you guys how to make my peaches and cream cake with an ombre surprise. So on the inside I'll be doing 3 different colored layers. I'm finishing everything off with a peachy colored frosting, white chocolate ganache, topping things off with some peachy gummy candies, and this cake is loaded with the most amazing peach flavor. So if you like peaches, watch along and I'll show you how to make this cake. Now before I get started on my cake batter, I'll be making my peach puree. So I've just chopped up 2 large peaches. I'm going to drop them into my food processor. Now you can also use canned peaches for this. And then to my peaches, I'll be adding a 1/4 cup of white granulated sugar. And give this a whirl until a smooth puree forms. I'm measuring out 3/4 cup of my peach puree, and this is going to go into the cake batter. And then the rest I'm just going to set aside into a bowl, and this is what I'm going to use to soak the cake layers with. So I've softened 3/4 cup of unsalted butter at room temperature, and to that I'll be adding 1.5 cups of white granulated sugar. Grab my mixer and cream this together. I'll be adding 4 large eggs, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a teaspoon of peach extract. Now this peach extract is optional and I had some difficulty finding it, so if you can't find it, don't worry about it. The peach puree is going to add lots of peach flavor. Next goes in 1/2 cup of milk and a 3/4 cup of peach puree that we prepared earlier. I'll give this a quick whisk and then I'll be ready to add my dry ingredients. On to my dry ingredients, I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. To that I'll be adding 4 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Just toss this all together, and I've pre-sifted my flour, so you can either sift it into the cake batter or you can pre-sift it. And then grab my whisk and whisk this in just until it's incorporated. And now it's time to add the food coloring to create the ombre effect. So I'm going to split the cake batter into 3 separate bowls, and I'm using a scale to get the weight just right. Just divide it evenly between the 3 bowls. And now it's time to add the food coloring. So I have some peach and some red food coloring. I'm going to leave 1 bowl plain, so I'm not going to add anything to the top layer. I'm going to add a few drops and then adjust accordingly. You can always add more, but you can't remove it, so be careful when you're adding your food coloring. And then I'm going to use a spatula to stir that in. And now my cake batter is ready to go into the oven. So today I'm using 3 8-inch cake rounds that I've lined with parchment paper. And I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. These are going to bake for about 35 minutes or until a toothpick inserted into the center comes out clean. My cake layers are cooling, and now I'm going to get started on my frosting. So I've softened 1 cup, 2 sticks of unsalted butter at room temperature. I'm going to drop them into my mixer. And to my butter, I'll be adding 2 8-ounce bricks, so 16 ounces total of cream cheese, which I've also softened at room temperature. I'm going to whisk the 2 together on high speed for about 5 to 7 minutes until I have a really light and fluffy mixture, and I'm going to scrape down the sides of the bowl every couple minutes to make sure that everything gets whisked to perfection. And now I'm ready to add the rest of my ingredients. I'm going to be adding about 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract for some flavor, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and now for that peach color, I'm going to add some peach colored food coloring. I'm going to start adding my confectioner's sugar. I'm going to add about 1 cup at a time and then whisk it in after each addition. All right, time to put this beauty together. So I'm going to start with the darkest colored layer first. I'm going to grab a fork and I'm going to poke that cake layer all over. And this is going to help that peach puree kind of sink into the layer. So I have my peach puree that I prepared earlier. Just kind of going to spoon it on top and press it into the cake layer. Now it's time to add on that frosting. I'm loving this peachy color, it looks so pretty. I'm going to load it on top, grab my spatula and just spread it evenly to the edges. Level it off. Now I'm gonna add on the second cake layer and just repeat the exact same thing. Last layer, drop it right on top. I'm going to use the rest of my frosting to frost the top and the sides of the cake. With this cake, I'm gonna do 2 layers of frosting, so I just finished my crumb coat. I'm gonna set it into the refrigerator, let it set for about 15-20 minutes. I'll come back and add a final layer of frosting. You want to make sure your frosting is really nice and smooth, so grab a flat spatula, even it off as much as you can, because once you add that white chocolate ganache, it's going to look really beautiful if the cake is nice and even. After applying my last coat of frosting, I'm going to set my cake into the refrigerator and let it chill for another 20 to 25 minutes before adding my white chocolate ganache. While my frosting is setting, I'm going to get started on my white chocolate ganache. So I've measured out about a cup of white chocolate melts. To that, I'm going to add about 1/3 cup of heavy cream that I've heated in the microwave until it was nice and hot. And then I'm gonna take this over to the microwave and heat it until the white chocolate has melted completely. Now the trick to getting your white chocolate ganache not to look transparent on the cake is to add some white food coloring. So it usually comes in a powder form, and you don't need a lot, you just need a tiny little bit. Drop it in there and just mix it in. I'm just gonna let this set for a few minutes to thicken up, and then I'll be ready to pour it over my cake. And then we're gonna work on that drizzle. The rest of the white chocolate ganache is just going to go into the center. Grab a spatula and spread it evenly to the edges. And look what I got to garnish the top, Peachy O's. I love these gummy candies, so I'm just going to lay them across the top. And they're going to be the perfect finish to this cake. All right, time to slice into this beauty and show you what it's made of. I'm gonna grab a nice sharp knife. You can move those little peach jellies around. Check that out, isn't that so cool? So we have the plain white layer, we have a peachy colored, we have a darker layer. It all looks so beautiful. Now it's time to dig in and give this a try. I have been dreaming of sharing a peach cake with you guys for the longest time, so I'm so glad I finally got this on my channel. The flavors in this cake are incredible. If you like peaches, you are gonna love this cake. Each layer is just loaded with so much peach flavor, and that creamy cream cheese frosting is the perfect thing to go along with these moist and flavorful cake layers. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video recipe. If you're looking for a great summertime cake recipe, give this one a try. And then if you do make it, don't forget to share with me on Instagram. You could just send it to me or just hashtag it with Tatyana's Everyday Food. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.